Hello, this is Miss Goodwin, and today we are covering Objective 2.1.1, which is about angle relationships. So the objective is that we can use the angle and line theorems to determine which angles and line segments are congruent and which are supplementary. So to start this, let's go ahead and go over some vocabulary. So the first word that we're learning is transversal. So a transversal is any line that crosses two straight lines at distinct points. So for example, we have this drawing here. These are just two lines, M and N. This one right here, that is our transversal. Okay? So any line that crosses two or more lines. Our next term is congruent. So congruent figures are two or more figures that have the same measure. In this unit, we are dealing with angles. So you'll see that two angles can have the same measure, like these are both 60 degrees. This can also apply to other shapes, so triangles. Next unit, we'll be dealing with a lot of triangles. You can see that these are both the same triangles. Another way to look at it is that they are equal. Okay. Our next term is complementary angles. Complementary angles are two or more angles that add up to 90 degrees. So you'll see this in a little bit, but 90 degrees is a right angle, which looks just like this. It usually has this little square in the corner to tell you that it's a right angle. Now, complementary angles are going to be two or more angles that can add up to 90. So for example, if this is 30, this is 60, 30 plus 60 equals 90. Okay? The next one is supplementary angles. These are two or more angles that add up to 180 degrees. So 180 degrees looks like a straight line. And supplementary angles would be two angles that can add up to that. So like this could be 120 and this could be 60. Okay. So that is some vocabulary. Now let's look at our types of angles. So we're going to be looking at 4 different types of angles that we can encounter. Our first one is acute angles. Acute angles fall between 0 and 89.9 degrees, so they are less than 90 degrees. So they are going to be kind of close together, like so. These are all examples of acute angles. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees. So it's going to look like this or this. We can always flip it around. And sometimes you'll see this little box in the corner. An obtuse angle is it's greater than 90 degrees, but less than 180 degrees. So we can see something like that, something like that, heck, even something like, nope, not like that. like that. So it's just bigger than 90 degrees, but less than 180. Now a straight angle is exactly equal to 180 degrees. And you guessed it, this is just a straight line. Like so. So these are our 4 different types of angles. Now let's go ahead and look at different relationships. So this is kind of the bulk of the lesson right here. We have 5 different relationships that we're going to be looking at. All of these lines and angles are formed by a transversal crossing parallel lines. So let's go ahead and take a look. So the first one is corresponding angles. These ones are angles that are in the same corner or in the same relative location. So for example, angle 1 and angle 5, those are congruent. Those are a set of corresponding angles, so they are congruent. So corresponding angles are congruent. Okay. We can also say angle 2 and angle 6 is another set of corresponding angles, which makes these congruent as well. I've gone ahead and filled in the rest, so feel free to pause the video here. But basically, angles 3 and 7 are also another set of corresponding angles, and 4 and 8, which makes each pair congruent. Now we are going to look at vertical angles. So vertical angles are formed when we have 2 lines crossing. They are across from each other. These are also congruent. And one set of vertical angles would be angles 1 and 3. So we know angles 1 and 3 are congruent. We could say angles 2 and 4 are congruent as well. Feel free to fill out the rest. Angles 5 and 7 are also another set of vertical angles, and so are 6 and 8. Our next term is alternate exterior angles. Alternate means different sides. Exterior means outside. So we are looking at the outside angles. Now, alternate exterior, alternate would be on the opposite sides. So angles 1 and 7. Now, these are congruent as well. So angles 1 and 7 are congruent, and angles 8 and 2 are congruent. Okay. And now we have alternate interior, which is very similar. These are also congruent. These are just on the inside. So angles 4 and 6 would be alternate interior. And angles 3 and 5 would be our other set of alternate interior. Okay. Now the last one on here is consecutive interior. These are not congruent. These are supplementary, which means we can add them together to get 180 degrees. So our sets of consecutive interior would be 4 and 5 and 3 and 6. Now, an honorable mention is our linear pairs. These are supplementary, and these are any two angles that are adjacent to each other. So let's say angles 1 and angles 2. Notice these are next to each other. They form a straight line, which makes them a linear pair. So what you'll be expected to do is prove some of these and be able to use them to find the values of the missing angles. I'm going to go ahead and let you go now. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in class. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.